This is the unit review for the equations quiz that's coming up. For number 1, we have a diagram of a triangle. That's an isosceles triangle. 2 of the sides are the same length and the third is a different length. It says the perimeter of the triangle is 19 inches. Write and solve an equation to find the value of x. Perimeter tells us that we need to add up all of the sides. So I'm going to write an expression for all of the side lengths. So we have x plus 2x minus 3. I'm going to put that in parentheses. It's not entirely mandatory that it's in parentheses. It just means that that's its separate side length. It still means addition because we have the addition symbol there. Now to make it an equation, I'm going to put in an equal sign. And the other side is 19 inches. Now we need to combine like terms. 1x plus 1x plus 2x is 4x. Bring everything else down. Now it's just a two-step equation. We're going to add 3 on both sides. That gives us 4x equals 22. And then final step, divide by 4 on both sides. 22 fourths, 4 goes into 22 5 times with 2 left over. So you can get 5.5 or 5.5 as a decimal. Either way is fine. So the value of x on part A is 5.5. Part B asks us to find the side lengths of the triangle. Up here on the triangle, I can put in what I know. Each of these legs are 5.5 inches. The third side, I'm just going to substitute in 5.5 into that expression. So 2 times 5.5 minus 3. 5.5 times 2 is 11, and 11 minus 3 is 8. So I get 8 inches for the third side. On a test, it would really help to rewrite those down here. So we could say sides 1 and 2 are each 5.5 inches. Side 3 is 8 inches. And then up here I could do side 1, 2, and 3, just to be really, really clear what I mean by that. Number 2, we have a word problem and we need to come up with an equation to represent the word problem. So 1 year ago, Sarah joined a health club. She paid a yearly membership fee of $60 that covered all of the services except the water slide. Sarah paid $2 each time she used the water slide for the entire year, and she paid a total of $80. Part A, we need to write an equation, and it tells us that we're going to use R to represent the number of times Sarah used the water slide. To define our variables, that's part of the explanation. We're just going to say R represents the number of times Sarah used the water slide. Okay, so each water slide trip was $2, so we're going to multiply the number of times she used the water slide by 2. So as part of our equation, we're going to have 2 times R, or 2R. She had a flat fee of $60, so we're going to add in the $60 she paid up front, and altogether that gave her a total of $80. Now in the explanation, we also need to say where the 60 came from. So we could say 60 represents the initial cost, and 80 represents the total amount of money spent. All right, part B, we're going to solve this equation. So I'm going to rewrite it down below. 2r plus 60 equals 80. Two-step equations. We're going to subtract 60 first. Here's our zero pair. 2r equals 20. Divide by 2 on both sides, and we get r equals 10. Okay, final step. We have a word problem. We need a word in our answer. So r equals 10, and that's the number of times she used the water slide. So 10 times on the water slide. All right, part 3, we're just solving these equations. Most of them are going to require distribution and or multiplying by the reciprocal. On part A, this is 3.5 multiplied by the quantity of 2x minus 4. So I'm going to start off with 3.5 times 2x minus 3.5 times 4 equals 8x plus 1. Okay, 3.5 times 2 is 7, so I get 7x. 3.5 times 4 is 14. Bring down the rest of the equation. We have variables on both sides, so it's always a good idea to get them on one side first. I'm going to subtract 7x from both sides. I could have subtracted 8x, but then I would have had a negative number, which is fine, but I'd rather not, so I did it the other way. All right, and subtract 1 from each side. Here's your zero pair. So we get negative 15 equals x. For these types of problems, it's a really good idea to go back and check your answer. Make sure that it makes sense. So we would do 2 times negative 15 minus 4 all times 3.5. Check that against the other side when you do 8 times negative 15 plus 1, and make sure you get the same thing on both sides. All right, part B, we're going to distribute. 1/2 of 10c is 5c. 1/2 of 6 is 3, and I'm subtracting there. 1/5 of 5 is 1c, and 1/5 of 10 is positive 2. Just like part A, I'm going to deal with the variables first. Since 5 is bigger, I'm going to subtract 1c. Again, that's just so that I end up with a positive number in front of the variable. As a side note, if you solved it differently, but you still showed your steps the way that I'm showing them, you just maybe did them in a different order, that's fine. Again, as long as I see your steps and you're doing it correctly, it doesn't have to be in the exact same order. All right, last step, divide by 4. We get c equals 5/4, which would be 1 and 1/4, or 1.25. Okay, part C, distribute first. Negative 2y minus 2, since we're doing negative 2 times positive 1, plus 5 plus 3y equals negative 10. I'm going to combine like terms first. So 3y and negative 2y is going to give me 1y. Negative 2 and positive 5, when I add them, is going to give me positive 3. And then it's a one-step equation. Subtract 3, 1y, or y equals negative 13. Okay, keep going with distribution. Negative 10m. This time we're doing negative 5 times negative 3, which is positive 15. Combine like terms, so our constants, positive 15 plus 7 is positive 22. Subtract 22 from both sides. Here's your zero pair. So negative 10m equals negative 30. Divide by negative 10. Negative 10 divided by negative 10 is 1, so you get 1m. Negative divided by positive sorry, negative divided by negative is a positive. So we get m equals 3 as the answer. Again, go back, plug it in, and check it. So negative 5 times 2 times 3 minus 3 plus 7, and make sure that's equal to 8. So 2 times 3 is 6. 6 minus 3 is 3. 3 times negative 5 is negative 15. And negative 15 plus 7 is, in fact, negative 8. So we're good there. All right, final problem. This one, you have a lot of flexibility. There are an infinite number of correct answers. What might help you get started is to simplify this expression. Simplified means that it has no parentheses and no like terms remaining. So we're looking for an expression that's going to equal negative 10x minus 30. So you can come up with whatever sequence of events you want as long as it simplifies to that. Pick some of your favorite numbers, try to be a little bit creative. Just as one example, I hope you don't use mine, but as one example, on at least 5 terms, I could do negative 20x plus 15 plus negative 45 plus 5x plus 5x. So this is a really simple one. I'm going to simplify it just to make sure it comes out to what I need it to be. We've got negative 20x plus 5x plus 5x is negative 10x. And then positive 15 and negative 45, when you add them, is negative 30. So again, that was a really simple, basic example. Try to come up with something a little bit more creative. Feel free to use fractions or decimals. This is your chance to show me how well you understand everything that we've been working on with expressions. And then we simplified it to prove that we got back to what we needed.